Stop it. What are you doing? That is my husband. Look here, Mrs. Park, with all due respect, Rayon is my husband, and we are both grateful your husband donated his heart to us. Words can never fully express our gratitude. But we didn't sign up for this. The stalking and harassment. I get it. That you were not meant to find out who got your husband's heart. You found out by mistake. Please, this is not Luke. This is Rayon, my husband. I am being frank with you because I know my husband will never want to disappoint you. He has your husband's heart after all. But he is my husband too. He is carrying Luke's heart. Please don't take him away from me.
Mrs. Park had walked in, uninvited, unnoticed at first until her eyes found Rayon. Mrs. Park pushed through the crowd like a sleepwalker waking from a dream. Her gaze locked on Rayon, and without a word, she ran to him, arms wide, trembling, and hugged him. Meg frowned as she watched her husband stiffen in Ms. Park's embrace. "I'm sorry," Mrs. Park whispered into Rayon's shoulder, her voice breaking. "I just had to see you. I had to feel him." 2 years ago, Mrs. Park's husband Luke had died on a rainy evening that split her world in half. But Luke had been an organ donor. And somewhere down the line, Miss Park learned where his heart had gone. Into Rayon. Into the man who now stood bewildered, gently holding the grieving woman in his arms. For 4 months after that discovery, she had clung to Rayon like he was her last breath of air. She felt hopeful that at least her husband's soul lived though inside a stranger's body. She felt the need to see him daily. She wanted to cook for him and take care of him. It was only natural. Packed lunches, handwritten notes, text messages at midnight. She brought him medicine when he sneezed. She sent him pictures of their old anniversary spots, flower deliveries, even birthday cakes with Luke's favorite frosting, coconut cream. Meg watched it all unravel slowly, painfully. At first, Rayon said nothing. He felt obligated, guilty even. He owed her, didn't he? He owed her everything. He somehow understood that Mrs. Park was struggling to deal with the loss of her husband. But tonight was different. Ms. Park had gate-crashed their evening. Her dress was too modest for the room, her eyes too raw. And when she hugged Rayon again in front of everyone, Meg had had enough. The room went silent. Meg's voice cracked, angry and tired. "You need to stop. You're not helping him heal. You're not helping yourself either." Ms. Park's lips quivered, her eyes shimmered with a grief too large for words. "But he's my husband, too. He's carrying Luke's heart. I can't live without him." Her sobs filled the silence like rain pounding a rooftop, and then Rayon gasped. A sharp cry escaped him as he clutched his chest, collapsing into a chair. Ms. Park's wailing stopped instantly. "Rayon," she cried, dropping to her knees. "Are you okay? Please don't die on me." She pressed a hand to his chest, just above the heart that once belonged to Luke. Tears rolled freely down her cheeks as she murmured, "Please don't take him from me too." Rayon steadied his breath, his hands still trembling on his chest. He looked down at her, this woman broken by love, haunted by memory. "I'm not him," he said gently, "but I carry a piece of him, and I carry your pain too." Mrs. Park walked away with pain written all over her face. She wondered if Luke's heart no longer beat for her. That night was the longest night in Miss Park's life.
I can't be falling in love with another woman. I am married. Why do I keep thinking of Mrs. Park? Why did my heart flutter yesterday? Is this new heart controlling me? I can't stop thinking about that warm hug yesterday. It felt so familiar. Now I am curious. I want to know more and have more.
Rayon didn't sleep at all. The whole night, he tossed and turned. He was replaying the events of that evening. He was thinking of the excitement he felt when Mrs. Park lovingly ran into his arms. His heart fluttered, and his whole body felt like he was being electrocuted. He felt emotions that he had not felt in a while. Maybe we shouldn't have agreed to the heart transplant, he thought to himself. Maybe it was better if I had passed away. I wouldn't be in this dilemma. I love my wife, and she has stood by me the whole time I was ill and at the point of death, Rayon thought to himself. Meg had always been loyal. She had wiped his fevered brow, stayed through long nights of machines beeping and hope fading. She had been a wife made of steel, reliable and unshakable. On the other hand, Ms. Park had been soft, messy, overflowing. She had flooded his world with color after years of sterile whites and beeping monitors. The lunches, the flowers, the tiny gifts, all given without expectation. He told himself it was gratitude that made him accept them. But recently he had been enjoying and looking forward to her home-cooked meals for lunch. Every day she would come and check up on him. In 4 months she bought more flowers than Meg ever bought in their 10 years of marriage. He would sometimes ask her to sit and chat. He was curious. He would ask her what her husband was like, and Rayan was beginning to like this guy. His wife had asked him to stay away from her, but he still entertained her when she came with various things. Her love was difficult to ignore. After being embarrassed by Meg, Rayan's wife, Mrs. Park stopped going to see Rayan and texting him. Rayan suddenly became anxious and sad. He missed her so much. He missed the food and the daily visits. One day, he made up his mind and called Mrs. Park. "Hello?" Her voice was cautious, even though he could hear her heartbeat in the silence. "It's me," Rayan said, unsure how to start. His voice cracked. I miss you." There was a pause on the other end, then a soft breath. "Come over," she said, "if you mean that." He didn't think. His hands moved on their own, grabbing his coat, his keys, and his confusion. The drive was a blur, and the moment she opened the door, she was in his arms again, her face buried in his chest, listening. Do you feel him?" he asked, voice barely audible. She nodded slowly. "All the time." That day marked the beginning of cheating escapades. He kept going back, again and again, for the food, the laughter, the warmth, and her. It was as if Ms. Park knew the rhythm of his soul. Or maybe it was Luke's soul. Sometimes Rayan wasn't sure where he ended, and Luke began. Did Rayan fall in love? Or did he feel sorry for Mrs. Park? Was it the soul that lived on in his chest? Is there a connection between his mind and heart? What do you think? Is he just confused?
My husband is cheating on me. It's all because of the heart transplant. Before the surgery, my husband and I used to be inseparable. Now he does not come home at all.
This isn't good. He's physically not strong enough for emotional turbulence. If this ends badly, he may not survive it. He needs a stable environment. It's not you. It's me. I can't continue with this marriage anymore. When I am in love with someone else, it's not you. It's me.
Meg wanted to believe that Rayan was just confused, and that he was confusing being grateful for feelings of love. She still loved her husband. She fought hard for him to live. Before the heart transplant, doctors had said Rayan had 3 months to live. He was fortunately rescued by the accident which took Mrs. Park's husband's life. The doctor had warned that even though the heart transplant had been a success, Rayan might not live long if he is not in a stable environment. He told her to avoid sudden changes, too much excitement or sad feelings. When Meg remembered this, she went to see the doctor and explained that Rayan was now having an affair with Mrs. Park. The doctor did say that it has not yet been scientifically proven that a heart can send past memories to the brain. Rayan was just grateful and overwhelmed by the attention and care Mrs. Park showed him. He referred them to a psychologist. Back home, Meg tried to explain to Rayan what the doctor had said, but Rayan could have none of that. Meg watched the love of her life slip away, heart first. At first, Meg tried to be understanding. She told herself it was just grief. Mrs. Park was grieving and Rayan was confused. This was all temporary. "I'm not losing him," she whispered to herself. "He's just confused." Meg would cry herself to sleep. Rayan was not hiding the affair anymore. He was literally living with Mrs. Park. Meg remembered the doctor's warning 2 years ago, right after the transplant. The heart is stable, but the patient needs calm, not chaos. Extreme emotions, especially heartbreak, can kill him. When Meg discovered the full extent of Rayan's involvement with Ms. Park, when he began sleeping at her house, missing dinners, no longer even pretending, Meg did the hardest thing she'd ever done. she went to see Ms. Park. They met at a quiet cafe, and the tension between them could have cut a stone. "I came," Meg said, her voice flat but steady, "because I want him to live." Ms. Park looked up, startled. Meg held up a hand. "Please, don't say sorry. Just listen." She explained the doctor's concerns, how Rayan needed emotional stability, how even a broken heart could end him, and how Ms. Park, for all the heartbreak she brought, had also brought peace. "I fought for his life once," Meg said softly. "Maybe it's time I fight differently." Tears welled in Ms. Park's eyes. "You're giving him away?" "I'm giving him a chance," Meg said. So they agreed that Rayan would move in with Ms. Park that weekend. For 2 years, Meg lived in the background of the man she still loved. They didn't speak often, but she heard through the grapevine that he was happy. He laughed more. He visited Luke's favorite fishing spot, tried new recipes, and even started painting. And then one evening the call came. Rayan's heart had started failing. Again. At the hospital, Meg walked into the room. He looked so pale, but when he saw her, his lips trembled. His fingers twitched, searching for hers. She took his hand. "I didn't think you'd come," he whispered. "Of course I came," she said, biting back a sob. "I'm sorry, Meg," he murmured, eyes brimming. "I got lost. I confused love with gratitude. I didn't mean to hurt you." Meg's tears broke free. She pressed her forehead to his. "You are my first love," he said, "and my last." "Just stay with me," she pleaded. "Please, just hold on." Outside, Miss Park was sobbing on the bench, having realized the irreversible damage she had caused. She didn't dare enter. She had Rayan from Meg once. And now, she feared she'd lose him, and Luke, for good. But Rayan didn't make it through the surgery. He died smiling, knowing that Meg had forgiven him. The days after were a blur of funerals, flowers, and silence. Then one day, Ms. Park came to Meg's door. Her face was hollow, her grief silent and shaking. "I didn't mean for it to end like this," she said. "I thought I was holding on to Luke, but I was holding too tight." Meg nodded. There were no villains here, only survivors of impossible heartbreak. "I forgive you," Meg said. "You gave him good days, that matters." They cried together, hugged for the first time, and then together they did something unexpected. They built a center called the Echo Center, for people with heart disease, for families, for the grieving, for those left behind. Every year, on the anniversary of Rayan's passing, Meg and Ms. Park meet at the center's garden. They sit on the bench and talk about Luke, about Rayan, about the strange, twisted path love sometimes takes. "I think I still hear his heartbeat, somewhere," said Ms. Park with a soft smile. Meg replies, "Maybe love doesn't die. It just finds a new way to live."